Okay, and we're back with Webster. So be forewarned. Do not play into the hands of the enemy. These people are ruthless. They're vicious. They're criminals. They're gangsters. They are the worst. And they are looting this country. And they want to loot your future, what's left of it, if there is anything left of it. Go ahead, Webster.
And indeed, in that circumstance, it doesn't help us to have people come forward telling us that government is always the problem when we know that it's Wall Street and the hyenas and jackals and raptors of Wall Street that represent
sucking the life's
blood. And I
blood.
really wonder, at a certain point, you're running cover for Wall Street if you say, well, the government are the biggest thieves. No, they're not.
Now, that's true. That's a very important point, folks. Listen carefully to what the man is saying. This is very crucial. It's not the government. It's the tentacles, the malignant beast that has co-opted it.
Yeah, in other words, the government can be whatever it is, depending on who controls it, right? And the question right now is that Wall Street, for the past 40 years, since the coming of Nixon, more or less, we've had the demolition of the New Deal safeguards. You can turn on CNBC and find people saying, "Hey, whatever happened to the uptick rule?" Right? And when now we have naked shorting that drives, destroys companies. What about Glass-Steagall? Right? What about the idea that it used to be illegal to mix something like J.P. Morgan and Chase Manhattan Bank, which are now merged as Siamese twins, or Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, right, and so on down the line. In other words, the idea that you're mixing stock brokerages with banks, that used to be illegal, and that was a better system. So in other words, we've gotten into this through deregulation. Then the most important one is the Washington Post has just admitted once again is derivatives. In other words, they've just done a series on AIG, and it turns out, lo and behold, AIG was not destroyed by some poor people getting subprime mortgages. It was destroyed by the AIG financial division putting out credit default swaps and pyramiding credit default swaps, which are a form of derivative, on top of asset-backed securities, mortgage-backed securities. So you go through it. Deregulation caused the current depression. Privatization caused the current depression. They're complaining about Fannie Mae. Well, Fannie Mae was a good government agency for 30 years until it was privatized. Then we have union busting, largely under the auspices of the Taft-Hartley law. Right. That's Robert Taft, Mr. Republican. We're told that he's a great hero of the Austrian School. Well, that simply accounts for the fact that you have lower wages and lower benefits in southern states, primarily the so-called right-to-work states, where you can't form a union. So is that the future we want? Generally speaking, it's a race to the bottom. The idea that you can be stripped of your economic rights, that you have, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the rest of that, and that these things can now be looted so that you can transfer all of that into the bailout column. And bailout, of course, meaning the attempt to bail out 1.5 quadrillion
it's not doable. It's a
of
joke.
derivatives, which can't be done. Now, the thing that I just wanted to talk about a little bit tonight, where does this stuff come from? Where do these ideas, the so-called, I don't know, some people call it libertarianism. I think this is really a misnomer. Anarcho-capitalism, the Ayn Rand school, right? Alan Greenspan, of course, being a big reader of Ayn Rand and her so-called books of objectivism.
He loved her. Yeah, I worshipped her.
People have heard of the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberger Group and Skull and Bones and all the rest of this. The most sinister right now, I think, is something that's often not on that list for a reason. It's the Mount Pelerin Society. P-E-L-E-R-I-N. Mount Pelerin Society. Now,
I've only seen one story on that, Webster.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, some people thought Paul Craig Roberts, who has done some useful things on the anti-war and anti-dictatorship, has just resigned from the Mount Pelerin Society, and I would say to him, you never should have joined that thing in the first place. Because what is this? It is a society of economists, and I think that in many ways they've had a more destructive impact on the world since about 1948, I guess, when they were founded.
Well,
47-48.
Their profile's not low; it's almost stealth. You just don't hear about them.
Well, it's a huge thing, and the two names that you probably know, that many people know that are associated with, is Milton Friedman and the Chicago School, meaning the Chicago School at the University of Chicago, funded by Rockefeller and the Rockefeller family, and von Hayek. This is Friedrich von Hayek of the so-called Austrian School. Now, the thing is, who were these people? Where does this come from? Because this is now spread through economics faculties all over the world. I would say right now there's an attempt to sort of catch humanity between a Malthusian, environmentalist, green economic faction on the one side and this monetarist one on the other. So the monetarist and this Austrian School, I would say, are the same thing. Now, the interesting thing when you look at this is that these are the titled nobility of Europe. These are feudal aristocrats, right? Families that are hundreds and hundreds of years
back
old
centuries,
with enormous crimes and enormous fortunes. Let me just name a couple. Some of the people who were instrumental in creating this Mount Pelerin Society. Otto von Habsburg. Now, the Habsburgs, this is the family that were the emperors of Austria for the last couple of hundred years it became the Austro-Hungarian
Empire. Hang on right there, Webster. Yeah, come back and we'll pick it right up. The Habsburgs is a name out of the past. We'll be right back as we continue after this short timeout, so stay right there. Back with Webster Tarpley. We're going to start talking about, going to name some names here. The House of Habsburg.
And again, these are people who were present at the creation, the decisive contributors to the creation of this Mount Pelerin Society, which is the main means by which monetarism, again, the Milton Friedman Chicago School or the von Hayek Austrian School has been spread into the United States. And of course, one of them is this guy, Otto von Habsburg. And this is the imperial family of Austria, and even before that, they're the emperors of the Holy Roman Empire, going back, into the 1300s, 1400s. And the one who was part of this is the guy is still alive, Otto von Habsburg. He was known as Crazy Otto in Germany in the 70s and 80s when he was actually active politically in what was then West Germany. This is somebody who claims to be the Crown Prince of Austria, the Crown Prince of Bohemia.
Oh, that guy. I remember that. Yeah.
And the Crown Prince of one more. So it's a feudal aristocrat. And this family, of course, they're the ones who led Austria into World War I, tremendous disaster. This guy's mother was Empress Zita, who was the last empress for the last, year, 1917 into 1918. His parents were the emperor and empress of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in World War I. Mm-hmm. So this is somebody who would have no future in the modern world. I'll give you another one, Turnuntaxis. It's written Thurntaxis. This is another family This is in southern Germany. They were
Turin.
considered...
It's a famous name.
Turnotaxis, right?
Yeah, sure. Thuri.
Their colors are black and yellow, and it's the color of the postal system in Germany and some other places.